Hey guys! Alright, so from our biochem and labs incorporated together for our third case study, we had to do a case study regarding horses which eats more than 20 kg of banana, and the horse has to be more than 400 kilograms. So we have to discuss what happens to it. So I shall begin first. So I did a little bit of research on banana, what it contains. So banana contains 48% of glucose, 40% of fructose, 2% of sucrose, and it said that there's less than 1% of maltose and 5% of starch. It also contains 1% of fatty acid and 10% of fiber. So what happens as the banana is being ingested by the horse, it has to be masticated, whereby to enlarge the surface area of the banana to be moistened and aided by the saliva. So from there, amylase is present in the saliva, and then it breaks down starch into maltose, whereby absorption will be it will be absorbed later in the jejunum in the small intestine. Also in the saliva, it contains bicarbonate, whereby it acts as a buffer to raise the pH of the stomach content, and it also provides protection from ulcer formation. Alright, and then after that it enters the esophagus to be conveyed to the stomach, whereby the esophagus is about 5 to 4 feet in length. So what happens next once it enters the stomach? The stomach is a weak muscle organ and is primarily used just as a holding vat, so there's not much functioning in it. And then the capacity of the stomach is depends on the size of the horse as well. It's about 11 liters, where it can fill up feed and water content. And then that's when the HCl, the hydrochloric acid, and the pepsin takes place for the digestion of protein, but we'll not be discussing on protein but carbohydrate. So that's only from me. How about you, Shall we continue on my part?
Okay, the digester passes from the stomach to the small intestine. The small intestine is a major site of digestion of the modern performance horses. The small intestine are divided into 3 sections with duodenum, duodenum, and ileum. The digestive process, which is the enzymatic breakdown of protein, fats, starch, and sugars, are similar to those of other monogastric animals, but the activities of several of the enzyme in the food mix, particular enzyme, is lower than that in monogastric animals. Pancreatic enzyme will help to digest the food in the small intestine, which the carbohydrate is digested to sugars and starch. The proteins break proteins into smaller particles, which is called amino acid, which then utilized by the horses. The lipase and bile from the liver is added to emulsify the fats and to suspend the fats in water. The pancreatic juices contains alkalis and bicarbonates, which buffer the acid ingesta leaving the stomach, which help to maintain an optimal environment for the functioning of the digestive enzyme. After the food has been all digested, it is absorbed through the wall of small intestine and carried off by the bloodstream of the cell. Yeah, that's all. So, what about you?
After going through all the small intestine, then the banana will go into the hindgut that consists of the large intestine, cecum, rectum, and anus. I will just talk about the cecum, since the other part is good, I think. And while in the hindgut, the digestion of the bananas will be digested, done by the bacteria which digest the plant fiber and the undigested remaining starch into volatile fatty acid, which can be later on absorbed into the gut wall. Then in the cecum, actually cecum is something like ruminants in horses. That is, the function of this cecum is it acts as a microbial inoculation wand, and it is odd in shape also because it has the entrance and exit both together at the top of the organ so this odd shape causes problem where if there's changes in the diet of the horse, then the bacteria cannot adapt to this kind of diet, then it will not function normally. Then this 20 kg or more than 20 kg of banana will cause a compaction in the lower end of the cecum, which causes pain or colic. That's all from me.
So I'll continue from one part. Regarding what you said earlier about the composition of the banana, I'm going to proceed from how glucose is used in the glycolysis process. So glucose is phosphorylated into glucose 6-phosphate with the aid of the enzyme hexokinase and the ion Mg2+. Next, glucose 6-phosphate is converted into fructose 6-phosphate by the enzyme phosphohexosisomerase. And then it is then phosphorylated into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. And this is catalyzed by phosphofructokinase 1. And then with the use of fructose 1,6-bisphosphate aldolase, the product earlier is converted into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate and dihydroxyacetone phosphate. But dihydroxyacetone phosphate cannot proceed with this process, so it is then converted into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate with the help of the enzyme triose phosphate isomerase. Okay, then this glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate molecules, they then undergo oxidation to form 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate with the aid of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate phosphoglycerate. Next, the 3-phosphoglycerate will then be converted into 2-phosphoglycerate with the aid of the enzyme phosphoglycerate mutase and the help of magnesium ions. For the following step will be the dehydration of the 2-phosphoglycerate with the enzyme anolase and the help of magnesium ions. What I actually meant was the dehydration step. 2-phosphoglycerate is actually converted into PEP. And with the aid of the enzyme anolase. So lastly, the enzyme pyruvate kinase with the aid of magnesium and potassium ions will catalyze the transfer of phosphoryl group from phosphoenol pyruvate to ADP, adenosine triphosphate, which will then form adenosine triphosphate and pyruvate. So, what have you discovered from your findings?
Okay, from my part, I will talk about DCA cycle. Okay, as you all know, the end product of glycolysis is pyruvate. This pyruvate will then enter this DCA cycle, which is known as tricarboxylic acid cycle, must be converted to acetyl-CoA by pyruvate dehydrogenase complex. And in this cycle, there are 8 reactions and various enzymes are involved. This reaction occurs in mitochondria. The first one is the formation of citrate by citrate synthase, followed by isocitrate by iconitase, alpha-ketoglutarate by isocitrate dehydrogenase, succinyl-CoA by alpha-ketoglutarate dehydrogenase, succinate by succinyl-CoA synthetase, fumarate by succinate dehydrogenase, and also oxaloacetate by L-malate dehydrogenase. Okay, the oxaloacetate will be used to initiate the cycle again. The end product are 6-NADH, 2-FADH2, 2 ATP, and 4 molecules of carbon dioxide. Okay, the cycle will continue to proceed to oxidative phosphorylation for more and ATP generated. Okay, that's all for me.
Okay, so that's how we actually obtain energy from banana. But however, what are the possible outcomes that we would suggest on the horse which eats more than 20 kg of banana? So yeah, it may cause colic and also hind gut ulceration as well. So those are the possible outcomes, but we're not sure.